Hi, Shannon Grimm here with Shannon Grimm and Partners at Howard Hanna Real Estate Services. Thanks for joining us today. Today, Eric Anderson brought with him a special guest. Want to introduce your guests for us?
Absolutely. I brought Dan Jurcich from Buckeye State Bank. We're a community bank headquartered in Powell, and Dan's one of our commercial lenders there that has a lot of experience in all sorts of lending within the business community besides real estate, also for businesses. So I thought this might be a neat opportunity to bring somebody in fresh and give a different perspective.
What, you think we're sick of seeing your mug? Like
Yes, yes. I think everybody else is, so.
So Dan, tell us, when did you start with Buckeye State Bank?
So I've been here since Valentine's Day.
Okay,
God, 2022, so coming up on 4 years now.
okay.
A romantic start to your relationship with Buckeye State Bank there.
What
Did they
brought-
get you chocolates the first day?
They did not.
Eric.
I did not get
Yeah,
chocolates.
Eric.
I got you Buckeyes one time.
Yeah. So what brought you to Buckeye State Bank? What did you like about it?
A small community bank. People really like the small community bank feel. There's obviously a lot of other bigger banks here in town, but they like dealing with somebody small, a smaller bank that can basically champion their cause for them. So I was just telling someone this morning, with a bigger bank, sometimes you'll deal with a certain person, and they kind of hand you off to the customer service
Never hear
team.
that person again.
Yep. But I'm your quarterback. So if I bring you into the bank as a client of mine, any issues you have, if you have an issue with an account or with your loan, I might not be able to help you directly with it, but I'm going to get you to the right person. I'll be responsible for it, so I'll make sure it's done correctly, and then I'll deal with you directly. So you're not having to call someone, call an 800 number and explain your situation to everybody. I have a pretty good idea of what's going on, what's happening, and how to be able to fix it, and I get to the right people to do it.
So it's kind of funny. So my husband and I are two totally different people. So like when I tell my husband that I know the person at the bank that I talk to, he's like, why would you ever talk to someone at the bank? And I'm like, what do you mean? Why wouldn't you? Like it was like when my parents went to the bank, they always knew who they were dealing with at the bank. My husband would prefer to, remain a number to someone as
Right.
opposed. And he's like, why do you call people? It's like, well, because it's quicker. So it's just interesting.
Yep.
So there's definitely a need for a community bank that actually has a personal touch.
Sure.
I think.
I've noticed it when we go to events there. We'll come to one of your food truck days, or we'll go like you have bourbon tasting. You hold events there often,
Yep.
and it's people within the community, not only business contacts. Like I'm there to attend, but you have customers there, and you can just tell that they feel comfortable there, and they love having someone that they can turn to, that they can make that phone call to, or they could just show up to the bank and be like, hey,
Yep.
I need help, and someone's there to help them. I mean, that's huge.
Well, one of the things we always say, like bank local, shop local, those kind of things, because we want to keep the money within the community. We've even done, we're doing the loans for Co-Hatch Construction in Powell. We're doing the rehab here in Dublin. So there's some stuff that we've really done within the community. One of the unique things about being a small community bank is that compared to the larger banks is that we're probably a faster process. I didn't say fast, but we don't have to go through 10 levels of management.
You don't have to go through review boards?
There's loan committees certainly, and there's certain processes, but because you're not going through 10 levels of management or whatever it may be, that just adds time and possibly frustration. We're a little bit more quick with it. And then we're also as a preferred lender with SBA.
Yep.
So because of our history of SBA lending, it gives us the ability to ask them to provide a guarantee quicker, and it could save a couple weeks, especially during government shutdown, I guess, or whatever. But it's another benefit that Dan can provide.
So as a preferred lending provider, we underwrite our own SBA deals, and then we basically tell the SBA that we're doing a loan, and we get the SBA guarantee from them. So we kind of cut them out completely.
And what is the SBA for the listeners who don't know?
SBA is Small Business Administration. They're the ones that guarantee certain loans. So if you were opening up a business and there's no collateral there, The SBA is our collateral. Basically, the government and the Small Business Administration, it says, okay, we're going to back Shannon on opening up this business where there's no history or collateral behind it. The SBA is there for that, so they provide that guarantee. That's the only way that you'll get it.
It's an amazing thing though. As much as people hate on our government, they have programs like this to help citizens thrive and help businesses get started, and it's huge.
Yep.
It's a great program.
Yep. Yeah, that's how we get that's how those deals get done. There's no other source, so you're not putting additional collateral that you need to have. It's the SBA, and we go from there. And it's like I said, it's a quick process. If you had to go directly through the SBA, because there's some banks that aren't, they don't have preferred lending status, and if you send it into the government now to do underwriting, there's only 2 places in the country that do it: West Virginia and Sacramento, California. And now with the shutdown, I don't know how long it's going to take, but normally it takes about 4 to 6 weeks to go through there, because they have those 2 repositories that are getting loans in from all over the country that go through there. So it cuts it down. It's not 2 weeks; it's about 4 to 6 weeks that it cuts down. So.
Yeah, I always tell everybody, like even when they're doing a residential loan, that the reason why you want someone who is local, who does do a lot of their own loans and makes their own decisions and stuff, is because they can do just that. Where when you go to the big banks, you are just a number. And if you got to go through the huge banks in town, that if you ever have to have a reappraisal done or anything like that, it goes back through a review board, which can take 7 to 10 days. So a lot of times that puts you closing later.
Yep.
So it's just interesting how different lenders operate for different things. And I have an SBA loan, so.
Yep.
Well, I've brought in referrals to Dan, and watching him, I guess, triage the loan or whatever, just, okay, he asks questions that I want as a residential person really appreciate or understand from the perspective of the bank, and he can cut to the chase quickly and say, okay, here's what we're going to have to look for to structure the deal correctly. So I like that within the bank we have that expertise. He can come to me for residential. I've got people in the building that can do commercial, and we set the customer up from the beginning correctly with correct expectations, and they understand what they're going to need to provide. Commercial lending is a completely different animal than residential, but you having a good relationship with that customer starts with giving them a good information at the beginning and good advice. So
I think one of the things that you can provide to people that they appreciate, we can't do every deal, but we can give them a quick no. That's when Eric tells me, goes over some of the details. Sometimes he'll get the client on the phone right away, and they'll go through, and I could either manage their expectations because they want to do certain things. I'm like, well, no bank really does that. This is how it's going to have to work. Or if we can or can't do it. If we can't do it, I could tell them, give them a pretty quickly why we can't do it, and then it allows them to move on. So if we don't have an appetite for that particular type of loan, they can move on to another bank, or sometimes I could just refer them over to another banker that another community bank that will be able to do it. So that's one of the things that, like I said, it's not always the best thing, because I want to do every loan that I could or every customer I meet, but it's not always possible. But if you give them a quick no, say, hey, this isn't something that we can do right now. So at least they're not spinning their wheels with you for 2 or 3 weeks, and then we finally say, well, we really don't like to.
Well, that's not good for anybody.
Yeah.
Which those big banks will do just that.
Yep.
They will spin their wheels and spin their wheels. I've had one go with a residential purchase. I've had them go for 90 days, and they kept asking for extensions. And it's like, look, this is a long-time customer of yours. You need to just be honest.
Yep.
And if you can't do it, tell them you can't do it. And they finally said, yeah, we can't do it. I'm like, then what was another extension going to do for you? Like, it's just ridiculous. So
just grasping at straws to try to keep things alive.
Yeah, and I just have always liked that about Eric, which is that Eric knows I don't really like BS. Like, just tell me how it is. And if it's a no, it's a no. If it's not, it's not. So, and I know when he says something's good, it really is good. So I can take him at his word and don't have to worry that he's doing like what some of those online loan providers do, which is just, throwing yeses out there and seeing if anything sticks at the end. And because you're messing with people's lives. Like if they put in, just on the residential side, if they put in notice on leases, stuff like that, you're totally screwing them over.
Yep.
So people that are looking to start a business need that same courtesy too.
Well, I like the fact that as a community bank that we're local, and if people, you get a call from an out-of-state, out-of-market lender, that customer can't walk into your office and sit down and have an eye-to-eye, face-to-face. You can't hide behind your email or your phone number. They can come in and have a human being conversation, and and I think that helps a lot with customers understand it and help them out.
How many times a week do I say that I refer lenders that are afraid of me and that I know where they work?
Correct. Well, we had a situation like that come up recently where she was like, I'm gonna go down there.
And I found them. So I found their cell phone numbers and then we got it closed.
For the guy that didn't want to be on the podcast that wasn't gonna say much,
Super chatty.
Eric's very chatty today.
It's a vacation day.
So, in the business and commercial space right now, what are you seeing most in the Central Ohio area? What are people starting to open? What businesses? What commercial development are you seeing that's coming through, especially coming through Buckeye State Bank? I mean, I just heard about Cohatch.
Right. Well, that's on the commercial side. Eric mentioned before. It's a big realm. So as far as like what I'm seeing right now. There's always a lot of development here, so that anybody that can get access to land, they're building, and it's across there's a lot of housing going on, a lot of single family residences, a lot of apartment buildings. So we're seeing a lot of that. On the business side, what I see is a lot of people that have been in the corporate world. They work for not necessarily a Fortune 500 company, but they work for a bigger company for a long time, 15, 20 years. Their business or their jobs are either downsized or they just got tired after 15 to 20 years of having the same Monday morning meeting, the same Friday afternoon call, whatever it was.
The rat race.
The rat race. So now they're trying to start their own business, and where we talked about where SBA comes in. So they're going to open up their own business. It's either a franchise. We see a lot of that because it's kind of a ready-made business, or they've taken part of their job that they used to do at the other bigger company, and then they can kind of shift gears and still have a business that is geared towards what they've been doing, and they open up their own little smaller shop and try to grow from there. So I see that actually quite a bit, where people are just saying, you know what, I'm not going to rely on the big company anymore to keep me going. They're start their own thing, and they might take a step back. Their salary might go down a little bit, but they're like, you know what, I'm so much happier doing this. I'll make this amount of money. I used to make a lot more, but this makes me so much happier to be able to do this. And they're in complete control of their well, sometimes not, but they're in control of controlling their business a little bit more. They don't have to go through what Eric said, the 10 layers of management. Sometimes it's just a couple layers of management. Now it's completely on their own, so they could they'll gladly handle that rather than going to their boss, who has to go to their boss and then has to go to a committee to get it approved. So